Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be doing a draft of the best wrestlers of all time, and this is across anything. This is any time period, any WWE, WCW, whatever. Any wrestler you want can end up on this list, and this one's gonna get good. Chaz, we're gonna give you number one pick. As the special guest of the show, you're gonna get number one pick. Adam, go ahead and take number two, and I will round it out last. I just want to throw in here real quick, guys, before you toss in the comments that I lost again. I just want to let you know that I went last. So yeah.
We need to preface by saying, be careful with your words. You said best wrestler of all times, bro. You're getting into like postings on YouTube with all these like crazy wrestling marks, and I know these people, bro. They are going to tear down everything. So like,
Yep.
so just be careful because they're gonna throw names at you. They're gonna be like, well, actually, Will Ospreay in New Japan in 2017 had a 6-star match. Like, yeah. I'm
Hey,
sure
we
we're
live for
not.
those comments, though. That's the best part of what we do.
I love wrestling, Mark, so that's why I'm calling them out. I'm one, but I'm not as bad. But all right, well, I'm going to go with. I'm not going to think of it as best because like that there's plenty of best. What does best mean? Does best mean most technical, can do the most flips? Does best mean drawing the most money and views, or does best mean what it means to you? So easily my favorite wrestler of all time, and I'm wearing the shirt right now, is Big Red himself, but not the one you think. This is the older brother, the Undertaker. Undertaker is my favorite wrestler of all time. Easily, he's been since about 1997, and he still is to this day. And thankfully, I've been to 3 WrestleManias, and the two of the first 2 WrestleManias I went to, he won the championship at both of them, and I was very lucky to be there. So Undertaker is on the squad.
If you don't put Undertaker on your squad, like, what are you doing? What
Right.
are you doing? My first pick is Mr. Austin 316, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Dang it, dude.
Yep.
I knew that
Oh,
one was
hell
coming too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Arguably the
Okay.
biggest wrestler ever.
All right, there's only one place for me to go now, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I gotta do it. I'm gonna take with my first overall pick, one and only Bret the Hitman Hart. I love the Hitman. Chaz hates that pick. I can see it. I can see it in his eyes. He hates that pick right there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. He's a bit of a spoiled princess, and to quote Vince McMahon, who's in some hot water, but to quote Vince McMahon, Bret screwed Bret. Okay.
I told you I was gonna lose this draft. Go
You're
ahead.
100% losing this draft.
Oh, the
Let-
marks
yeah,
are gonna love it though. The wrestling marks already love it, bro. You're good. Take Kenny Omega,
Perfect.
and the wrestling marks will be on your side.
Perfect. Chaz, what you got?
Okay, so coming back, I'm going to take my second favorite wrestler of all time, and what I would think is the best Canadian wrestler of all time, and yes, that's over Bret Hart, Mr. Y2J himself, Chris Jericho. That
Let's go.
he's fantastic. He's a great. I love his band. We're very similar in our likes, music, and all that stuff. And I'm speaking like he's my friend, but just like I've always like. The man has always resonated with me, and I've just loved everything he's done. And Chris Jericho is on my team.
I like Chris Jericho. He was on my list as well. But all right, my second pick is Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Man, he's got Stone Cold and The Rock, bro.
Yeah. There's nothing bad about The Rock. Granted, he's in a little too much nowadays, but he was a great wrestler back in the day.
That's a good pick. That's a good 1-2 punch to start it off. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with my next pick, I'm gonna go somewhere. Man, I feel like people aren't gonna like my draft, but I came from a different era of wrestling, bro, and I have to have this man on my team. And we are, of course, talking about the Heartbreak Kid, Mr. Shawn Michaels. Little sweet chin music, baby. Chaz hates all of my picks.
No, my cousin and co-host partner Robbie Vegas is the biggest Shawn Michaels fan in the world. So we've always went back and forth between Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, but you can't miss on Shawn Michaels. He's Mr. WrestleMania for a reason.
Thank you.
It's a good
Thank
pick.
you. I
Good pick.
appreciate you backing me out there. All right, Chaz, what you got?
Well, I am my next player. My next wrestler is actually my third favorite wrestler of all time. So I got my 1, 2, and 3, and it is a man who Shawn Michaels actually forced into retirement for beating him at WrestleMania 24 in Orlando, which I was at, and that is the man. He is the dirtiest player in the game. He's the limousine riding, jet flying, Rolex wearing son of a gun, Mr. Ric Flair. Woo! Come to the team, baby.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Two
That's
claps and
good.
Ric Flair. Woo!
Love him.
All right, my third pick for me is 619 Rey Mysterio.
Let's
Very nice.
go.
I love Rey Mysterio. That's who I played as every 2K or every wrestling game that I could. Because like his signature move, I think there's nothing cooler than the little twirly 619. Like it's so cool.
Two things on Rey
That's a solid
Mysterio.
pick.
His son is the best bad guy in wrestling right now. Dominic Mysterio is fantastic. And my favorite Rey Mysterio memory is when the Big Show had him tied up to like a gurney and took the gurney and swung it like a baseball bat against the turnbuckle. And he
Ooh.
felt it was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Do you see that side note here? Do you see that like when him and Logan Paul were wrestling, like Logan Paul saved him? Like he almost like
Yeah. Yep.
Because like he overflipped and like he almost landed on his neck and like so Logan Paul caught him.
Yeah, Logan Paul's
Like, saved his life.
really good. Now I'm not
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
not a Paul guy, but as a wrestler, he
Yeah.
does a real good job.
He's a good personality for it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I could follow that. All right, guys, with my next pick, I'm so losing this draft, but you know what? I don't care. I love this character. The next pick on my team is gonna be the one and only Mr. Razor Ramon, and I
Hey.
love me some Razor Ramon. The Razor's Edge was sick. He was like the quintessential bad boy of like my era of wrestling for like when I really, really, really bled wrestling. So I'm going with Razor Ramon.
I love that you went with Razor and didn't say Scott Hall. Like Scott Hall was cool, but Razor was where it's at. He was dripping machismo.
It was a dripping machismo. Yeah, before the whole Scott Hall, Kevin Nash nonsense. He was Razor Ramon and he was his own deal. And he was indeed dripping with machismo.
Okay, so
I like
my next pick, round 4 here, is going to be my probably like I don't know. He probably isn't my top 5. Maybe he's top 4, but he was one of the sole reasons that got me back into wrestling hardcore within the past decade. Probably my favorite character from the last decade, and sadly, we lost him this past year, and it really hurt me. And I want to bring Bray Wyatt onto my team, and Bray Wyatt like transcended. Like he brought in a lot of old school fans. He was such an old school character, and everything he did was fantastic. And when he like transformed into the Firefly Funhouse, the Mr. Rogers character, and then transformed into the Fiend, like at the same time during COVID, like Bray Wyatt was a genius, and he was a fantastic wrestler, and he was gone way too soon. So rest in peace, Bray Wyatt, and welcome to my team.
Good
That's
one.
a solid
good one.
pick. Yeah, the Fiend.
Yeah.
The Fiend just made you feel different. It was it just felt different. You're like, I haven't seen this level of like showmanship in the sport in a long time. So yeah, that's a great pick.
All right. I might have to get my next one cleared. It's gonna be a duo if that's allowed. So is it a duo allowed?
Whoa. All right, go ahead. Take the
Is it?
duo.
A
As
duo
long-
is allowed, Chaz?
As long as like it's not like there was a tag team of like Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels. That doesn't
No.
count. It's got to be like a
No,
real
this-
tag.
Yeah, it's a they're brothers. So my fourth pick is the Hardy brothers.
There you go, the Hardy Boys.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
If,
We'll
if I
allow
have
it.
to, I'll say Jeff Hardy if I have to.
Well, that's
Fourth
the
pick,
right
Jeff
answer.
Hardy.
That's the
Yeah,
right.
exactly. There we go.
We'll let you
I
pick
love
both.
the High Flyers. The High Flyers are like my favorite character, or like my favorite personalities.
Legends.
We'll allow it. Well,
Future
yeah.
Hall
Yeah.
of Famers easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
We'll allow it. Okay. Guys, with my next pick, we are going to go very, very early. And this is, Chaz kind of brought this up already, but this is kind of like one of my earliest memories of wrestling. And I got to put the Ultimate Warrior on my team. I got to take him. I gotta take the Warrior. I gotta do it. He is my earliest memory of wrestling. I remember dude, do you remember those pillows that were shaped as like the wrestlers and you could beat them up?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's dude. That is my earliest wrestling memory. Is just watching the Ultimate Warrior and grabbing the rope, and it's like, oh, it's about to go down. Like I absolutely love it. Yeah,
That's
so
a
I'm
good one.
putting the
That's a good
Warrior
one.
on my team.
So let me get this straight. You have the wrestle buddy of the Ultimate Warrior, and you beat him up, and then it's you're sick of that, so then you go and beat up your poor little brother? That's ridiculous.
No, I would
Other way
practice
around.
I would practice on the wrestling buddy to make sure that I got the moves down pat, and then I'd be like, "Yo, baby bro, let me show you something."
That's when his brother turned around and started beating him up. He's like, I gotta go beat up my stuffed wrestler now.
Funny story.
That's when he started getting bigger than Dave, and Dave's like, gosh darn it, I'm gonna go beat up my little toy.
Funny story. The reason why I have this nose is there was one time me and baby bro, shout out to you. I had to tell this story, but shout out to the time that we were having a little bit of a wrestling match, and what ended up happening was, of course, because I'm an amazing wrestler, I put him in the sharpshooter and made him tap, and then as soon as he tapped, I let him go, and as soon as he got up, he sucker punched me right in the nose, and that is why I have this monstrosity on my face, in which why everybody that meets us says, "Oh, Pete, you got the good nose. You did not get the good nose. I had the good nose, and you took it."
He
That's
gave
awesome.
you the bad nose.
He
Yeah,
gave
that's
me
awesome.
the bad nose. Yeah,
Sounds like you deserved it.
I did deserve it. I love you,
Well,
buddy. I love you, buddy.
anybody that likes Bret Hart deserves a punch in the face. So
Wow.
we got one more round, right?
Yep. Good pick.
We got one more left.
So since you took my next pick, I am going to go down a different route here, and I'm going to get a little female representation, and I am going to go with my favorite female wrestler of all time, easily, and I think the greatest female wrestler of all time. Athletic, great moves, knows how to sell, knows how to draw money, and comes from a legacy, because I already have her father on my team. So let me get Charlotte Flair on my team, and everyone's going to hate it, but Charlotte Flair, I don't want to say single-handedly, but Charlotte, Becky, all those people, but Charlotte was the queen of this whole women's revolution, and women's wrestling today is fantastic, and you needed all the people before, of course, but that era, especially Charlotte, is the reason that it is top notch today, and matches with women are just as good as the men's. Sometimes the women's matches steal the show on cards, and it was never like that before. And Charlotte Flair, welcome to the team.
That's a good pick.
Solid
That's
pick,
a good
bro.
pick.
Solid pick.
My last pick is actually a wrestler that I worked at his high school, and he came there last year actually, and I got to shake his hand, and that is Seth Rollins as my final pick.
Let's go.
Just mostly because I met him. Like, that's about all. I met him. I shook his hand. I worked at his school, and it was cool to see him in there hyping up the crowd. He actually hit our principal with a pie to the face, so it's kind of cool.
I'll tell you, Seth Rollins is the Shawn Michaels of this current generation. Like,
He's
Roman
cool.
Reigns might be the big star, just like Stone Cold was the big star. But Seth Rollins is like the straw that stirs the drink. He's always the one. They need him to be the champ. They put the title on him. He always has a good match. Seth Rollins is awesome. So good choice.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Solid choice. Okay. And guys, to round out the draft, I'm probably going to lose some people here, but that's okay. Because I need
You
to put
lost
this
people
one
earlier, so
I
let's be
already
honest.
lost people, so it's fine. It's all right if I lose everybody else. But I have to put this man on the list because this was one of my dad's favorite wrestlers. And my dad is, one of the people that kind of got me into wrestling. We used to watch it together. So I have to put this man on the list. And we are talking about the one and only Mr. Rowdy Piper. Dude, I love Rowdy Piper. And just watching him, like, he was like in that generation of wrestling, he was like watching him just go wild was just like something that you didn't like. I don't know. You didn't really see it a lot. I mean, you got it from like Hulk and from the Warrior and stuff like that. But for Rowdy, it was different. It was almost like he wasn't wrestling. He was just like a really angry guy, like in a bar fight. And I kind of loved that about him. So yeah, I'm going to put a little Rowdy Piper on the list, round it off that way.
Hey,
That's a good pick.
that's, I mean, headliner WrestleMania 1. What's your thoughts on his movie, They Live?
We don't have to talk about that.
I like it. I like him. I thought it was good. But surprising, nobody drafted the Hulkster. Interesting.
Yeah.
Nobody,
Or
yeah.
some honorable mentions. We should probably go over some of those.
Yeah. I got Macho Man, Goldberg, Sting, Kane, Mankind. I had a couple on the list still.
Yeah.
Along with my more iconic, I mean, we got to give Triple H some love. But
Yeah, I was gonna say Triple H.
yeah, one of my favorites.
Goldust.
Goldust was great too. One of my favorites from back in that Attitude Era. You guys are going to remember this. By no means is he great. He was very entertaining though. Is Val Venus. I loved Val Venus back in the day. But some more modern guys I loved, along with Bray, that helped me get into it was Braun Strowman and Kevin Owens. I absolutely love those guys. Kevin Owens just had a great match last night with aforementioned Logan Paul, and then I like he's a little on the underground scene. So for my marks out there, I like Matt Taven, who is out in Ring of Honor. So yeah, there's some.
Got Batista and the Big Show.
Oh yeah.
You get Diesel. Did you get before the Kevin Nash era? He was Diesel.
Kurt Angle,
John Cena.
John Cena, yeah.
So many other ones that we missed. But
so many good wrestlers. But I mean, at least we know that they will all be making appearance on this 200 plus roster for WWE 2K24.
Everybody we name better be on that. Everybody, single person we name better be on that game.